Hey Pi Whales community, welcome back to our channel. We've noticed that only 40.9% of our viewers are subscribed to our YouTube channel, which means that 59.1% of you have not yet subscribed. We want to change that and encourage all of you to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with all of our latest videos. Subscribing to our channel ensures that you never miss a video. It also helps us to create better Pi Network content for you. The more subscribers we have, the more feedback we receive, which allows us to tailor our content to your preferences. So, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button now and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss a video.
The Pi Network ecosystem may have just entered one of the most important phases in its history, and many people still do not fully realize what is happening. For years, critics kept asking the same questions. Where is the utility? Where are the real apps? What exactly is Pi Network building? But now, the conversation is beginning to change. Pi Launchpad has officially been released on Testnet, and this could become a major turning point for the future of Pi Coin, decentralized applications, and the entire Pi economy. Pi Network is no longer focusing only on mobile mining. It is now building an ecosystem where applications can launch their own utility tokens directly inside the Pi environment. This is not just another announcement or roadmap promise. The first version of Pi Launchpad is already live inside Pi browser on Testnet, allowing pioneers to explore how the system works before the mainnet rollout. According to the Pi core team, the purpose of ecosystem tokens inside Pi Launchpad is very different from many traditional crypto token launches. Instead of focusing mainly on raising capital, these ecosystem tokens are designed around product utility and user acquisition. That means projects are expected to create tokens that serve real purposes inside their applications, including rewards, payments, governance, access to services, and interactions within the platform itself. This is one of the biggest differences between Pi Launchpad and many Web3 launch systems today. In most crypto ecosystems, projects launch tokens first and try to figure out utility later. Pi appears to be reversing that strategy completely by focusing on product-first development. The goal is to encourage applications with working products before launching ecosystem tokens. If this model succeeds, it could become one of the strongest advantages of the Pi ecosystem in the future. Think about the scale of this opportunity. Pi Network already has millions of engaged users around the world, many of whom are identity verified through KYC. That means developers entering the Pi ecosystem are not starting from zero. Instead, they may gain access to one of the largest blockchain-ready communities globally. Pi Launchpad could potentially become the bridge connecting Web 2 businesses with Web 3 infrastructure while giving projects access to a massive user base from day one. But one of the most important details in the announcement involves liquidity pools. The Pi core team explained that Pi collected during ecosystem token launches will not simply go directly to the issuing project. Instead, those Pi proceeds will go into liquidity pools alongside the ecosystem token itself. This is extremely important because liquidity is one of the foundations of any healthy decentralized economy. Without liquidity, tokens become unstable, vulnerable to manipulation, and difficult to use effectively. Pi Network appears to be designing a system where liquidity is built from the beginning instead of added later as an afterthought. This structure may also support the future development of Pi DEX, the decentralized exchange environment currently existing on Testnet. The core team explained that a healthy exchange ecosystem requires legitimate utility tokens with real functionality and real demand. Otherwise, decentralized exchanges risk becoming flooded with speculative and meaningless tokens that damage trust within the ecosystem. Pi Launchpad seems designed to prevent that problem by focusing on utility-driven applications instead of hype-based speculation. By encouraging product-first projects and liquidity-backed ecosystem tokens, Pi Network may be preparing for a more stable and functional decentralized economy on Mainnet. Another reason the Testnet release matters so much is education. The core team openly admitted that many pioneers may not yet understand launchpads, decentralized finance, liquidity pools, automated market makers, or utility token systems. That is why Pi Launchpad is first being introduced on Testnet. This phase is not only about technical testing, but also about teaching users how these blockchain systems work before the mainnet version becomes fully active. Pi Network has always positioned itself differently from traditional crypto communities because many pioneers are everyday users, not experienced crypto traders. Over time, Pi has gradually introduced more advanced blockchain concepts step by step. First came mobile mining, then wallets, then KYC verification, then mainnet migration, then ecosystem apps, and now Pi is moving toward launchpad systems and decentralized exchange structures. This gradual approach may be one of the biggest blockchain onboarding experiments ever attempted, because millions of users are slowly learning decentralized technologies through Pi Network. Naturally, many people are now asking the biggest question of all. What does this mean for Pi Coin itself? The answer may depend on whether Pi Launchpad successfully attracts quality applications with real utility. If developers build useful products inside the Pi ecosystem, demand for Pi could potentially increase because Pi may become the foundation powering payments, liquidity pools, ecosystem participation, and user interactions across applications. Utility creates demand, and demand helps strengthen ecosystems over time. That appears to be the long-term vision Pi Network is pursuing. Not simply a cryptocurrency with a market price, but a utility-driven digital economy powered by real applications and real users. Another major part of the announcement focuses on the relationship between users and projects. In traditional Web 2 systems, users simply consume products provided by companies. But inside the Pi ecosystem, users may hold and use utility tokens connected directly to the products they interact with. That changes the relationship completely. Users become active participants instead of passive consumers. Developers gain feedback, testing, validation, and early engagement from the community, while pioneers gain opportunities to participate in ecosystem growth from the beginning. If implemented successfully, this could create stronger loyalty and deeper community involvement throughout the Pi ecosystem. At the same time, the core team also emphasized that everything is still subject to change. Pi Launchpad is currently in Testnet, which means features, calculations, interfaces, and mechanisms may evolve rapidly during testing. This is still an experimental stage designed to gather feedback and improve the system before mainnet deployment. That transparency is important because it shows the core team is still refining the product instead of pretending everything is final. Even with those uncertainties, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Pi Network is no longer standing still. The ecosystem is expanding toward more advanced blockchain infrastructure focused on utility instead of pure speculation. Now imagine what could happen if this vision succeeds years from now. Imagine thousands of Pi-powered applications where users earn rewards, access services, trade utility tokens, and participate in decentralized economies built directly on Pi infrastructure. Imagine businesses joining Pi Network because they can access millions of verified users globally. Imagine developers creating products designed specifically for mobile-first blockchain adoption. Imagine decentralized exchanges filled with utility-driven applications instead of meaningless speculative tokens. That is the long-term direction Pi Launchpad appears to support. Whether people support Pi Network or criticize it, nobody can deny that this is an ambitious strategy. Another critical detail is the requirement for product-first projects. The core team specifically stated that applications launching ecosystem tokens should already have functional products before issuing tokens. This directly addresses one of the biggest problems in crypto today, where many projects launch tokens before building anything useful. Pi seems to want the opposite approach. Build the product first, prove utility, and then integrate the token into the ecosystem. If enforced correctly, this requirement alone could significantly improve the quality of projects entering the Pi ecosystem in the future. Of course, success will ultimately depend on execution and adoption. Infrastructure alone is not enough. Developers must build quality applications, and users must actively engage with those products. Questions still remain. Will projects join the ecosystem? Will utility tokens provide real value? Will liquidity systems remain healthy? Will Pi DEX activity grow safely? These questions cannot be answered overnight because they require time, testing, and real participation. That is exactly why the testnet phase is so important right now. The core team wants to observe how users interact with the system before introducing the mainnet version. For many pioneers, this moment could become far more important than it first appears. Pi Network may now be moving beyond simple mobile mining and entering the early stages of a true utility-driven blockchain economy. For years, people focused mainly on the future price of Pi. But perhaps the bigger question is whether Pi Network can successfully build a functioning digital economy powered by utility, participation, applications, and real-world adoption. If that vision succeeds, the impact could become enormous. And that may be why Pi Network continues emphasizing ecosystems, utility, applications, and participation instead of pure speculation. The release of Pi Launchpad on Testnet could eventually be remembered as one of the major moments that transformed Pi Network from a mining project into a much larger decentralized ecosystem.